All right, welcome back to Jakey's Pod. Today's meditations with Jake Levinsky. Today's meditation is going to be meditations on the rising public consciousness. That's not exactly it. There's been an increase. There has been an increase, maybe a rise in awareness of the public consciousness. Oh, I gotta turn this off. Drizzy. I believe there's been a general. This week has been weird, man. This week has been weird. I think there's been a rise in the base level public consciousness. I don't know what I mean by that, but I just mean the surface level conversations that are kind of on the public's mind right now are not really about surface level things. It's kind of interesting, you know, and it doesn't make me feel bad. The last time I felt like this was a long time ago. It was like 4 years ago. No, not 4 years ago. But I mean, like, what was it? 2016, I feel like there was a sneaky wave. It's funny because that was when the term like woke became coined. But there was like a sneaky wave of, there was an increase in public consciousness where I feel like people started to, for lack of a better word, like believe certain things. Have certain beliefs about the world that were once kind of wacky became more normalized. And I think that happened for the good and for the bad. But I mean, you know, what I mean by that is like, I don't know how to describe it. There was like the interconnectivity of kind of people at that time kind of caused like a wave of realizations, which were then subsequently co-opted by, you know, political parties and then used to make it seem like people are against each other. But, you know, I was talking to Maria about this. It's interesting because we talk about this all the time on Meditations with Jake Levinsky, and just that's what I'm saying. I talk about this stuff with my people, but a lot of these things I don't feel like are on the public's mind. But lately I've been talking to people in my everyday life, and just the level of conversation has been higher. And like, that's been noted. It's interesting. By that I mean, you know, like I was thinking like an internet world, you know, it's like, oh, America's supposed to be more divided than ever, right? Politically right? Like evidently America's more divided than ever. If you were to check the internet, they would corroborate that outlook where you look and be like, look, half the people think like this, the other half the people think like this. But we use political words to describe it, but they're no longer apt for the groups that they are encompassing. You know what I mean? Like, for example, right wing and left wing. You know, like neither of these groups are really good enough to like summarize these. But there is this divide. But if you go out into the real world, it's like, well, where is it? Because it's not happening in the real world. It's very simulated. But there is. But to say that there's not a divide would be foolish of me. Just because it's not. That's what I'm saying. The real world's pretty good. Like, you know, like the racial tensions in America. Yeah, you know, like I guess you don't see them on the base level of things is not really as dark as they make it. But there is a divide. There is a divide, and I don't think it's right and left. I think the divide is Kendrick Lamar and Drake. That's evidently That's evidently the public split. And it is weird because I've never seen something like this. I'm going to say the divide into this raising in public consciousness has to do with three things. One, the Kendrick Lamar Drake beef. That is rule number one. This is consciousness. This is public consciousness shattering extinction level event. This is paradigm shifting, food for thought. Reason number 2 is the Joe Rogan archeologist debate. I don't know if you're up on that, but that's reason number 2. And then reason number 3, I'm going to say good old fashioned war in the Middle East. It's the war in the Middle East is also causing. So what do I mean by that? Like, to start, like, what do you mean the Drake thing is? I feel like the divide between Kendrick and Drake fans is more encompassing of America's moral divide than right versus left. Right? So let's break it down. Representing the establishment, representing Joe Biden in the ring, we got Drizzy Drake. All right? Drake is Joe Biden. He's the establishment. He's plugged in. And in the other corner, representing Donald Trump in the ring, is Kendrick Lamar, coming in as the anti-establishment guy. And they're echoing the secret debate that is never going to be on TV, but that is the divide amongst everyday people, which is, are there pedophile elite running the country? And if so, I'm pissed about it. And it's just like, I don't know, man. That is on the public's mind. If you say it's not, you're wrong. There's this question of this question of these pedophile elite is just ramping up, and it's just like, because it's, you know why it's that's paradigm shifting. That's world shattering. You know, I've been saying to people all week, like, Bill Cosby was not canceled at the height of his career, while the Cosby Show was like in its middle season or whatever. He was canceled when he was an old man, after he did it all. You know, like, for Kendrick to take the angle of a high-profile canceling, which I'm going to say, like, is usually something, like, I feel like people, like, you know, representing the more alternative wing would say cancel culture's bad. But there is this kind of vibe, too, of, like, the desire to root out the evil, to sniff it out. And, like, I was thinking about this, too, which is, like, I don't know if I generally agree. Well, this is what everyone's been saying forever. Cancel culture was a big swing, and then it was a big overstep. They got a lot of stuff, and then there was also a lot of gray stuff that got kind of crammed in at the end, where it's like, wait, what are we canceling people about? And then looking back on it after like a decade of canceling, all cancels are not created equal. You can still get canceled for big shit, and weaker stuff like doesn't, you know, stick as much, I suppose. But yeah, like calling him a pedophile, and then for Drizzy Drake to categorically deny it and feed into this, just to sort of echo like the fucking CNN of it all, of like, oh, you're one of those crazy Epstein guys too. Oh, they've gotten into your head, and now you're taking it out on me. You know, that's what Drake was saying. You're taking it out on me. If there was oh, I get it. You got molested. If Drizzy molested, you know I'd be the best at it. You know, if Drizzy was a molester, I'd be the bestest molester ever. You think I'd be with that A minor? If I was with A minor, she would be with some big double D's. That was like Drake's level response. Oh, really? Anyway, I think I've exhausted this debate, because this is not just like a Drake episode. This is reason number 2 of the paradigm, the society's paradigm shift. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, the public consciousness getting raised is a good thing. Around 2016, even though that was when cancel culture ramped up, it was also like bigger questions became more acceptable to ask. And then it took like a kind of like a whole pandemic to try to stifle that public, you know, that blooming of the consciousness. You know, like the powers that be seem to, you know, want to keep a lid on the extent of the public consciousness. I don't know. You know, it's just like, that's what I'm saying. Things go, not even to take a conspiracy element, things go in waves. You know, people, you know, hope goes up and down, public trust goes up and down. Like, this is a known thing. Like public trust is low, hope is low, money is low, and you know, the questions that it raises, and the public realizing things at the same time. Diddy was paradigm shifting. I was trying to tell my dad about that. Diddy was paradigm shifting. It's just like, well, because you go, oh, all the people in Hollywood are pedophiles, and everyone goes like, I know that, and you're like, I know we know it, but it's actually like, it's like 100% true. It's like all your favorite guys. What about that? So I guess reason number 2, the Joe Rogan, Graham Hancock secret archaeology debate. If you're up to date, you know it takes no introduction. But I guess if you're not up to date, I'll give it an introduction. You know, and this is the part that people won't talk about, because I listen to a whole, there's an element to this that people are not talking about. But it's kind of similar to the Drake Kendrick debate, the Trump Joe Biden debate. There's this element to it that's like, do you believe in nothing, or do you believe in kind of weird magic? There's this other element that, like, the other side also, the other side believes magic is real. That's the part they're not talking about. There's this they live in a spiritual world of wow, you're going to go up that's so funny. That's so funny. There's like a flatbed truck down here, and I thought the car was going to go around it, but he then ramped up onto the dump truck. Anyway, like, conspiracy people believe in a kind of live in like a mystical world, so to speak. You know, like that's one of the things that people don't talk about. Like a flat earther, for example, is like, they're like, oh, they're so stupid, they don't believe in science. I'm like, dog, they believe in like a fucking fairy tale land with like dinosaurs and shit. Like, it's so, you know, but it's like, that's what I'm saying. It's like, we believe in magic. And that's kind of what this is what the Graham Hancock debate boils down to. He believes in a lost civilization, an Atlantis, so to speak, that, you know, circumvents the more boring, narrow telling of history. Excuse me, brother. With this more fantastical one, that there's this lost, hidden civilization, and that they might have had some sort of like great technology that is lost, and just kind of, this is like, that's what I'm saying. Okay, the belief's crazy, whatever. The board of like if you had to boil it down, it's like they believe in magic, and the establishment, academia, archaeology view, they're like, we do not believe in magic. We believe in fossils and bones, in math and charts. And they've also, they're like, that's just what it is. You know what I mean? But why is it paradigm shifting, and why is this week it paradigm shifting? I don't know if you follow this, but Joe Rogan just had a bunch of fucking huge conspiracy guys on, and what that does to the public debate is allowing big questions. Like, he had fucking Tucker on, he had moon landing guy, and then he did something that they've been saying they're going to do for years, which is they're going to let Graham Hancock, the guy who believes in the Atlantis, to debate a fucking archaeologist YouTuber. And those guys are weenies, but if you ever actually listen to them, if you can get past like what dorks they are, they make some good points. You know what I mean? Once you can eventually hear them out, and then it kind of snaps you to reality. You're like, okay, Graham Hancock, he does believe in magic. And like, but that's what I'm saying. I'm not going to let these academic people convince me. Like, that's what I'm saying. If that's what the divide is do we live in a more spiritual world than like science is going to, but like, you kind of have to believe in like sci-fi concepts, right? Like, I called Jay Simpson this week because I heard the conspiracy that Dave Chappelle is a clone. And that when they went to Africa, they really killed him and cloned him for Comedy Central did, I guess, for denying them money. But they really wanted like but I'm like, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, I was calling Jay. I was like, and Jim Brewer starting it. Jim Brewer, like, he's like, I won't say, and Roseanne, I won't say for 99% certain that it's not cloned. Well, here's the thing. It's like, as crazy as that is, it's like the more baseline level is like, you think they have clone technology? But the part about it to me was like, but okay, even if you have a clone technology, how would you know? Like, how could the clone also be good at stand-up? You know what I mean? Both clones couldn't be the best at stand-up. If there were two clones of Dave Chappelle, right? Like, if you're like a proto-mush that becomes, like, preformed, you don't get a copy of Dave Chappelle's brain, right? Like, he's just on testosterone. He's just, like, got jacked with chemicals. Like, it's not a mystery. Best BB alien history. Ain't no mystery. Best BB alien history. So, like that's what I'm saying. Like, we live in this conspiracy world where half the people believe in, like, these, like, sci-fi concepts. But then there's this element to it, too. Like, if I believe in a god, like, from an academic perspective, like, I'm psychotic. It's like, no, like, the world is definitely more... You don't let these fucking smart scientist heads tell you that the world is not more fucking spiritual and interesting than can be observed. Because, you know what I mean? If you want to know what I'm talking, like, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. But I don't live in the world of academia, but I have some pseudoscientific beliefs. I do, you know? And I'm just not trying to prove them to anybody. That's what's interesting about the debate. Is like, I was like, oh, this is a matter of belief. And even if I could also wrap my head around having an academic explain to me that it's wrong. And then being like, yeah, but it's more like, that's the thing, they're like, it's just to live in a more, you know, creative world, you know what I mean? But I was listening to, I don't know, allowing the debate to happen is why it's paradigm shifting. It's because fucking the archaeologists didn't want to talk to Graham Hancock because they're like, he's a quack, you know, talking to him gives him validation. Whereas, like, I don't know if he's that wrong, I need to know why. Do you know what I mean? And I can hear all the evidence. They're like, well, where are all the seafaring crafts? Where's this high level technology? Well, like, well, if you're following the lore, they found it, and it's like what they've been back engineering at Area 51. But that is also on some Tucker Carlson, Alex Jones shit, to be fair. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many levels of belief here. Do you realize what I'm saying? There's so many levels of pure belief, no fact, which ties into the where we boiled down with the fucking Kendrick Drake thing, which is just like, they both fucking said outlandish shit. It's like, well, who do we... Now, as soon as I was kind of pissed. It was like, you really thought Kendrick was going to win in the war. And then it's like, damn, we're back to where we are, like, in regular society. Like, just like he said, she said with the pedophile elite. But then this is the third reason why this week is paradigm shifting. Which I was talking to my coworker at work. And who's a little younger than me. But I don't know if you know this about, like, conversations with coworkers, but they're oftentimes very boring and surface level, and especially, you know, like, it always just feels like you're talking to, like, a TV news pundit. That's why you don't really talk about big shit at work. That's just, you know, it's important. Not saying I was talking about big shit at work, but at work a conversation got brought up, and we were talking about we're a bunch of fucking 30-year-olds, 30 and 40-year-olds talking about what Gen Z is like and the effects of the pandemic. Now, that's some heavy fucking workplace conversation. And that's what I mean that this week is paradigm shifting. Why are people... That's what's on people's minds. The Drake Kendrick debate sparked it, like, has allowed the conversation to, at least temporarily, delve into deeper concepts than we would have previously. People want to know the truth. Good is good and evil is evil, and people want to know the truth. And you could just boil down you could play as many mind games as you want, but that is where we're at, you know. And I was talking about that third thing, the mind games, which is like, and this is back to a thing that Tucker said, but I've been thinking about it, which is just like, because I'm not an evil person. I think I'm a good person, you know. I think I put, like, minimal evil into the world, and I think I do good stuff, and, you know, like, and that's a lot of times the good versus evil war is really down to, like, a 51 versus 49% situation. Do you know what I mean? You can only win by a little bit that day. Do you know what I mean? But at least right now, we've dipped into this amount where the public consciousness can be raised. We can ask, headier questions. And I was talking to my coworker, and we were talking about Gen Z being soft, and just like, this is like a known thing, this is a thing I talk about all the fucking time, is, I'm choosing the life of a goofy, silly comedian, but, my grandpa had to fight in World War II. How's that fair? And he lived through the Great Depression. And there's a thing. It is kind of this weird belief that, like, oh, I think he's letting me go. Jesus Christ, guys. Yeah, you do have to drive a little bit, though, you fucking idiot. Doesn't it just feel sometimes like I think about, what's funny, like back in like the 1700s when like the books about utopia were being written, they were imagining the perfect society. And you know what I think the elite figured out that they would never say to us, but that it's a balancing act. You can never have full peace. They need to have, if they have to want good where they want to have it be good where they want it to be good, you have to put the evil somewhere else. So, and that is why there's this, it seems like the establishment loves to wage evil war on the world, but in a way that, oftentimes we never see and makes us feel weird. Oh, but this is the thing that Tucker was talking about, which was just on Joe Rogan. I know, I'm not a Tucker fan. It's just a thing he said. But he was like, good is good and evil is evil. And, like, that's what I'm saying. Just because I'm not part of the decisions that my government makes, because they are just lie, like, because I am part, like, a small node in their web of lies, like, I am culpable for their evil too. And that's like, it's funny to hear like a right-wing guy talking about essentially the core of white guilt. You know what I mean? Like, this is what all those fucking college kids are snipping about. Oh, I'm gonna park here, fuckers. There's people that in history. BBL Drizzy. Sorry, I'm gonna parallel park here. And then I was talking to my coworker, like, I sum up a lot of ideas. I was talking to my coworker, and we were saying, like, just how, like, our whole generation wants to be an artist, but it's like, kind of the generational, pass down of, I guess everyone wants better for their next generation, but 3 tiers down the line, you create like a really soft generation. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's like a law of physics almost. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of hard to dispute at this point. Thank you, sir. Well, that was a little much. It's BBL Drizzy. It's BBL Drizzy. BBL Drizzy. BBL. Oh my God, I hate to say that. I am parking like an absolute woman right now. I am fucking miles off. But cars can get by, so I'm like, it's like, I'm gonna leave it. BBL Drizzy. BBL Drizzy. I mean, is this like the most manic rant ever, or is there like a point to this? I want to say there's a point to this. Like, I want to say there's a point to this. We live in this very strange world. Oh, this is what I'm saying. I have some spiritual beliefs. But if you're talking to spiritual beliefs to like a scientist, like, while they are going to think you're crazy, you got to remember, those people believe in fucking nothing. They believe in fucking nothing. They believe the earth is just rocks and that and nothing happens after we die. And I don't know. But if you look, if you zoom out a little bit, if you want to pay attention to something that's on the spiritual side, you know who I like? Read a book or listen to an audiobook by Carl Jung. Carl Jung. It's Jung, but it's pronounced Jung. But that dude was a fucking weird guy. He was a weird guy, and he believed in a lot of weird stuff. I don't know if he coined it, but I'm gonna say it right now. He kind of coined the term like synchronicity. And a synchronicity is like a weird mystical. This is the layman's term how to describe a synchronicity. A weird mystical coincidence that has significance. And by the significance, even if it's just significant to you in your own mind, causes some sort of realization, then that's a synchronicity. You know what I mean? And like, you can't measure it with a chart. It's actually almost an anomaly. Things happen all the time that are statistical anomalies. Synchronicities happen all the time. And if it makes you remember something about your mother, that gives you a realization about, like that was a synchronicity. That was a real life human moment you just had. And science cannot really fucking explain that shit, I think the public consciousness has been raised. I think it has. And honestly, I credit Kendrick Lamar. If I can add, it's just choosing now of all times to to attack to attack Drake is to attack America's other half with questions on their moral character and what they fucking believe in. Do you know what I mean? And that's why this is so compelling to people. That's why everyone cares right now, because everyone's fucking morality hangs in the balance. I do have a tend to over-dramatize too, but I think this is true. It's an interesting time to be alive. But, I mean, this comes back to the previous episode, aka the K-pop war crime imbalance. You know what I mean? This is exactly what and the meditations on productivity. That's what I'm saying. It's interesting to me, because I've always felt, sometimes like my internal thoughts don't really reflect, mainstream society's internal thoughts. So when I start branching out and talking to people about stuff that really matters and have it reflected back at me, I'm like, I think maybe society is ready to think and discuss bigger stuff, or maybe just even for the moment. And it's probably gonna get shanghaied by evil forces pitted against each other, what have you. Am I sticking out? Suck me. Guys. This has been Jakey's Pod. This has been Meditations with Jakey. Meditations on the spike in public consciousness. Let's just put it at that. I'm going to go work a Black Crowes show. Hang out with my buddy Shawnee O'Shaughnessy. Hopefully make some money. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.